Hello, my name is Ted Lederer, and you're watching another episode of It's All About Art. And today we're in conversation with sculptor Frances Semple at her studio in Victoria, British Columbia. Frances, thank you so much for having us over. Now, Frances, we're here in your studio, and all around us there's artwork, and we'll talk about that in a minute. This is all in preparation for a show that's happening January 9th to 30th at the Elliott Lewis Gallery in Vancouver.
Yes, it's a mixture of pieces that I've done with models and without models. Very sort of free-form interpretation of a model, and that the actual piece can morph into a male, a female. It can be sitting, and then I'm moving it, and then it's standing. And so I go into a real journey with the piece until I feel comfortable with it, and I find a place that I like it, and then I'll leave it there. I really enjoy the feeling of where is this going, and letting it sort of take me on that journey rather than trying to force it into looking like the person.
Your pieces, in a sense, are abstracted. The ones that are, I mean, most of the work that I see, there's a level of abstraction to them.
There is, and I like the simplification of the body to the form.
Right, bringing it down.
Yeah.
What is it about the human form that's captured your imagination?
Well, I think it's the personality, finding a personality in the piece, and going on that journey of figuring out who this person is or where this person wants to go, and that is what intrigues me. I
know in looking at your sculptures and having seen your sculptures, it's a pretty good mix and array of materials that you're using. So what is it that you're primarily working in?
All my pieces start in clay, and then I'll make a mold from the clay original, and I'll use various materials I use concrete a lot, and a hybrid gypsum polymer hybrid of plaster concrete. I'll play with those, particularly with the concrete. I play with that material quite a bit. Like, for instance, putting a thin layer of wax over the top, giving it a skin-like layer.
Right.
Form of encaustic, but it's using it in a 3D. I've thinned it down so more of the concrete shows through. Like, for instance, this piece here. It just creates a skin.
Oh yes, and you can feel that.
You can feel it, and it's so thin, it's more of a finish.
A lot of your sculptures, Frances, that I've noticed, where you use armature inside the piece to to give it rigidity and structure, you tend to expose the armature. I find it a very interesting device. So how is it that you come to that? I
came to the idea of this when I was casting a piece, and when I opened the mold, it wasn't fully formed, and some of the armature was showing through, and it was just fantastic. I loved it. So I sort of started working with that and creating it so that the piece is integral still. If there is still strength to it, but it looks like it's broken, but it's actually not.
Right, it is that broken look to it, but it's clearly not.
I think also what it does for me is it creates a sketch of the piece again, so I can emphasize the face, and then with the looseness of the concrete, it's sort of creating a sketch of the area that's not fully formed. It
shows the process a little. It's like when painters leave areas where you can see the process. And I think if we walk just a little bit down in your studio here, we have three pieces that really demonstrate this sense of motion and movement. Maybe you could talk to us a little bit about these three pieces.
This one is called Wind, and it's actually inspired by a photograph of my mother when she was standing on the pier in Scotland with my brother, and I think that a bunch of us were with her at the time, all wee things, and the wind was blowing like crazy. So that is inspired by that photo, and these two are just more exploring, once again, just from my imagination, exploring this particular one, that kind of idea of being shy. And because the pieces are small, it allows me sort of a quick gesture. I don't have too much space to work with, which is nice, so it can be a quick kind of little study. Normally I work a bit larger. And I quite enjoy that size. And as long as I keep it loose and I don't get too tied in with the details.
Right. And I see in the corner you have here a piece that's bronze, and it is substantial. It's not a hollow bronze piece.
Yes. Well, this is one of a series called Suspended Animation, and I had cast these in concrete, and they're normally in a series of 4 figures. This is one left from a series of 4 that I had cast in bronze.
The bronze is beautiful. Mm-hmm. It's a lovely patina. It's just absolutely lovely. It will be interesting to see how you choose to show this in the exhibition and how it gets mounted. Frances, as we move along, obviously we have another reclining man.
This is reclining male number 2.
Okay. But with a very different feel.
Yes.
Like a different look, different feel to it.
Yes. With this one I did not use a model at all. So I actually referenced myself a few times for the back arm, but which I do often. Like if I'm confused about a foot or something, I'll peel my shoe off and have a look at my foot.
Right.
But this one was just from my imagination, and he's quite happy on the floor too. He's when we're talking about presenting. A lot of these pieces can just literally sit on the floor.
Right? Because it's always an issue with sculpture, isn't it? People say, "Now where do I put it?"
It's just something that people need to get used to with sculpture, as opposed to a painting. It's something it takes time for people to really get to know the piece and bring it into their homes.
Frances, is there anything else that you'd like to share with the viewers, either about your work or the upcoming exhibition that's happening this January at the Elliott Lewis Gallery?
I was working in a different form when I was in Vancouver, and so I'm looking forward to meeting some of the people that I know my work before and can see it now.
See where you've gone.
Where I've gone, yes.
Well, thank you so much.
Okay.
My name is Ted Lederer, and we've been in conversation today with Frances Semple, sculptor, at her Victoria, British Columbia studio. You've been watching another episode of It's All About Art. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you again. Bye for now.
Bye.